to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, or Mike if you prefer, and I got reviews for you today. Today we're going to be talking about IDW and Dark Horse Comics, Ninja Turtles and Stranger Things issues number 3 and 4. But before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. Hit that bell. You never know when I'm going to be dropping videos. I don't have a schedule. It'll keep you in tune. Alright, so let's get into it. So both these issues are written by Cameron Chittock, art by Fero Pe, and colors by Sofie, Dodgson, letters by Rus Wooton. If you are not caught up with this story, it's only a 4-issue series. This is the finale. I have reviewed the other 2 series, or you can go pick up the series. It's on sale. You know, my shop is still had it on the shelves the whole time. Alright, so anyways, without that anyway, so let's do issue number 3. So the last time both groups are split up. We have the Ninja Turtles and Stranger Things crew, and they're kind of split up into 2 teams. We have some that are like down below Times Square, and we have some that are in this like secret laboratory with Baxter Stockman. The Baxter Stockman crew, it's I'm drawing a blank. It's Max, it's Raph, and then we got Stockman, and I'm drawing a Dustin. But basically they're there, and at the moment we have Raph and 11 and Stockman, and they're kind of in this like this virtual reality, like, because they're inside Raph's mind kind of thing, and basically Stockman is trying to get Raph and 11 to open up the gate. They don't know why he wants to open the gate, and that's kind of what goes on here. In the beginning, it's all this thing like Baxter Stockman tries to play this game where like, I'm in your mind, I'm in control, you know, blah 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 blah. But it's kind of reverses. It's not like they're in Baxter Stockman's mind; they're in Raph's mind. So they quickly learn that, you know, they're in control, and basically they kind of knock him out of this reality, and we go back to the lab. Then we jump over to the rest of the crew, which are in Times Square or in the sewers at the moment, or subways, and they are battling the, you know, Demon Gormons and Demon Dogs with the dope ass spread here. I love this, and there are some badass spreads throughout this series. But they are shown in this moment that everything from the Upside Down doesn't like fire, and it kind of plays a little key from here on. After that, they kind of quickly, once they do the, you know, mix their weapons with fire and stuff, they kind of quickly disperse from the crew that was in the subway, and then they try and figure out what's going on and stuff. At this point, they know they have to go into the Upside Down. They don't really want to, but they kind of have to, you know, not only figure out what's going on, but try and save the other crew, because they're both, you know, trying to get to each other. So we're back in the lab, and at this time we're basically learning on like what's going on, why Stockman's doing this, you know. And Stockman just explains that he knew about this, and he had met Dr. Brenner, you know, 11's, you know, captive. He wanted to see if he could mix the technology with the Upside Down technology, which we've already seen, because he's made his mixed his mousers with the demon dogs, which is kind of a cool concept, because at this point what his plan was he was going to send his mouser demon dogs inside the Upside Down and try and figure out what was going on in the alternate dimension kind of thing. He hadn't got that far, but he does explain that he met Brenner, that when he met Brenner, like in passing, that he didn't believe the whole story, but 11 was kind of the key to opening up this breach within another reality, so that's why Stockman had to get her kind of thing. We jump over to the other crew, and they're basically going through the Upside Down, and at this point both sides are kind of learning that the major bad guy, and if you're watching the show, you know who the major bad guy is at this point. It was the Mind Flayer. So that's what they're kind of, you know, reaming up to. They're trying to figure out where the breach is in the Upside Down on their end. They come to this part right here leading up to the street level, and they find an Utron. If you don't know what an Utron is, that's Kang. It's the little aliens that are inside bodies kind of thing. Right here. And we kind of quickly find out, after they free him from the Mind Flayer, they light him on fire, and it doesn't kill him, but it does release him from the Mind Flayer's hold. And that's kind of where this issue ends off, is that, them talking about the Mind Flayer and stuff, that he's the main bad guy. They show us a cover preview to the next issue, which I have right here. So let's get into that one. We're back at the lab, and this point, Dodgson, Max, Eleven, Raph, they've come up with this plan to use the the Mouser demon dogs to kind of sheep the other demon upside down entities, because they got demon goblins running around, and they got but basically they're going to round them up to Times Square, where they, around the breach. They figured out they can control all the upside down entities with these Mouser things, because they can mimic the upside down creatures. So that's their plan, is they're going to go to Times Square and round up all those creatures and stuff. Eventually we finally get to see one of my favorites, but we get to see Casey Jones and April O'Neil. They're kind of like the taxi service. They come and pick up the crew so they can get to Times Square and start out the plan. This is where we find out most of our main information, is with this Utrom, and I think I'm saying his name right, Utrom. They're an alien species, it's not one guy. As far as this guy, I don't think he had a name. It's not Krang. But basically we find out that there's two Utroms, and they worked in this lab. They were trying to create something that was able to open different rifts through dimensions, but they were trying to use it through travel means. They were trying to transport spaceships from one spot to another without having it teleported, kind of thing. Which they even mentioned that the teleporting thing is their most efficient, way of travel at the moment. But upon doing this experiment, they did open up a breach, and as soon as they opened up the breach, and it was just for a moment, it was long enough for the Mind Flayer to come through and basically take control of the two Utroms that were doing this experiment. All the other Utroms that were there experimenting, they went back to their homeland, so they don't even know the other two guys were, taking control by the Mind Flayer. But basically they explained that the Utrom that they found, that he was kind of tasked, like not needed. He was cast to the side, and that's why they found him in those bodies, because he was trying to, make it out of the upside down, and got tired, lost, kind of thing. His other companion, the other scientist that was there, he's still being controlled by the Mind Flayer, and it looks like he's building some kind of, like a bigger version of that device to, go through dimensions, but also teleport stuff. And we find out the Mind Flayer is basically trying to, transport the upside down directly to Times Squares, or so it seems at first. We have our crew that shows up at Times Square, and they can tell that someone has recently been in the upside down with the flickering of the lights and stuff like that, just like in the show. So quickly they start rounding up all the demon dogs and demon gorgons that are there. They eventually do. And we got over here, it's kind of like a moment of span, and it kind of threw me off guard, but I forgot about it. But basically, they, after this trek, they have explained that 11 has earned, this, the bandana that they wear, kind of thing. We see on this page that the Mind Flayer is, he's headed to the transporter and stuff. And at this point, they have questions on why the Mind Flayer wants to, go over to the New York side of thing. But after everything is said and done, they still kind of go with their plans. They start, this team is heading up to the top of the tower to stop the Mind Flayer with the Utrom. The Utrom is kind of, at first he's scared that they're not going to help him, and they're like, yeah, we're going to help you, you're just trying to get back home. And both, all these groups can, they both, agree that they understand the premise of home and what it means and this and that. And, but we have both teams basically, and they're doing the same thing. They're both making it up to the top of this building at New York Times Square, both in the upside down and the real world. And this is one of the dopest spreads, and I think we got 2 more coming. It doesn't matter which way you look at this, but we got, like, the Turtles and the Stranger Things crew going up that way, and we have the, you know, from the upside down version in that way, and it's pretty dope. It shows them like fighting demon gorgons, and you know, and the same thing versus over here. It shows them trying to make it up to the top of the tower over here, which eventually they both do on both sets. Like I say, we got a couple of different badass spreads because we got, you know, this, and finally we make it up to the top of the tower. We can see that both sides are not only fighting the Mind Flayer, but also everything around the, like, let's just call it teleportation device, you know. And that's basically what they're doing, is trying to stop, you know, everything. And eventually that's what they do. They seal the hole, they destroy the machine, and basically they find out that the Mind Flayer wasn't trying to bring the Upside Down to New York. He was trying to transport a bunch of New York to the Upside Down. He was going to use people for some unknown reason. They don't go into that point. But eventually they do seal the seal. All teams are now together. The Utron is kind of expressed that they can, you know, that he's allowed to stay. They show some reminiscence of what has happened over the trip, you know, the first encounter in the sewer, the seal within the subway. But everything goes back to normal. After that, we see the Turtles, Casey Jones and April O'Neil hop in their little van, and then they're about to head off. They tell the Stranger Things crew that, you know, anytime they're in New York City, that they're welcome. And same thing is said from the Stranger Things side, that, you know, anytime the Turtles get tired of New York, that they can go to Indiana. The Utron is also kind of left with the Turtles, and it kind of showed them like that maybe he was gonna, they were gonna add that one dude into you know, part of their crew. They did, and no, it is two. I'm sorry, it is two. I was gonna say I don't know what happened to the other. No, he's there. They show both of them. They say both of them. But that's basically it. And basically, we have the kids going back to Indiana, and they're telling Dustin's dad about the trip, you know, and that's kind of it. I want to say it does leave it open up for like a sequel. Like it didn't feel like this would be the ending of this story. But that's basically it. This is the 4-issue series. They give us like a cover gallery in case you were interested on what the other, you know, covers in this series look like. I would have loved cover A. My shop didn't have it. But that was it. My honest thoughts was I loved it. The art, the story. I honestly, I hope we get like an animated version of this or a live action version. It would be fantastic. And I mean, we already got Stranger Things, and they already got the effects for that. So adding the Turtles wouldn't be that massive of a hard deal. But man, it fits so well. You know, both franchises being centric in the 80s, and, you know, not even thinking about it, but going into the series, how well it mashed together and stuff. But man, I love this series. I don't know, let me know your thoughts down below. Did you like this series? Are you a Ninja Turtle fan? You know, did it play honors to that? Are you a Stranger Things fan? Did it play honor, you know, to that kind of thing? I honestly, I'm a fan of both. I'm not a super huge Ninja Turtle comic book reader, but I am a huge fan of everything Turtles outside of comics. I have been my whole life. But Stranger Things, yes, I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things, and I've been reading everything Stranger Things, and so I want to say, on my standpoint, that I believe it, you know, it was a great addition to both, you know, franchises. On top of that, the team up between the two was fantastic. But guys, this is my review. Let me know down below what you thought of the series, what you thought of my review. All comments are appreciated. Please don't forget to hit that like button, especially if you made it this far. I congratulate you. 13 minutes is a long time to watch a video. Now, I don't know. Alright guys, I'm rambling. I'll let you go.